Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark Canada. Today's video is going to be the final video that I share in 2020, and what better way to mark the occasion than by sharing a recap of 2020. In this video, I'm going to give you a recap of my year in reselling, which was my first full year as a part-time reseller, also here on YouTube, and I'm going to share 3 of the goals that I had initially set out for 2020 and how I did. In between that, I'll share some lessons I learned, some highs and some lows, and at the end of the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about my plans for 2021. If you enjoy reseller content, thrift hauls, unboxings, Poshmark tips and tricks, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, and if you're a brand new subscriber, leave me a comment down below saying I subscribed, because I would love to say hello and build some more connections here in this community. Whew, 2020. That's it. That's the end of the video. But in all seriousness, 2020 definitely wasn't the year that any of us expected. When it came to reselling, I was really excited at the end of 2019. I had joined Poshmark when they launched in Canada in the summer of 2019, and then actually started reselling in the fall, became a Posh ambassador, spoke at Posh Party Live in Toronto, just got like this amazing momentum going, started thrifting, and was really jazzed about what was to come in 2020. The first week of January 2020, I decided to start this YouTube channel, and I was really excited. And then 2020 happened, and it was a little bit different than what any of us expected. Before I get into the goals that I had set around reselling and YouTube for 2020, I just want to say, even though it might not look the way that I hoped or wanted it to, I'm grateful for what I learned along the way. I'm grateful that family and I were safe in the midst of this global pandemic, and that even though this year was challenging, I came out on the other side feeling like I learned something, and I'm just hopeful for 2021. But I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. The first goal that I want to talk about was actually related to YouTube. So I decided to start a YouTube channel at the beginning of 2020, and my goal was to make 52 videos in 2020. I started this channel because I started watching a ton of other resellers and was learning a lot from them, but found that there wasn't a lot of Canadians in the space. Poshmark has been around in the US for 9 years now, and it's still fairly new in Canada. At that point, it had only been around for 6 months. So I felt like there was a need in this market for Canadian reseller related content, and I thought it would be a fun creative outlet for me, and I was really excited to start a new channel. Things started off really well at the beginning of 2020. I started to find my groove. I was consistent with content in January and kind of into February, and then as 2020 unfolded and as life happened, YouTube kind of got pushed to the side. 2020 was challenging for a lot of reasons in the world, and for me personally, there was a number of other things that happened related to my job and related to my health that just, my bucket was very full. And there were points in 2020, especially in the spring and summer, where I just didn't feel like being on for YouTube. So, I cranked out a what sold video, and that was kind of it. And that was okay. I did the best I could, and that's all anyone can ask. I did share a what sold video each month, so I'm really happy for that. I think it's really cool that I can look back on all of those videos and see what sold month over month. I've actually made a playlist of all of those, and so I will share that up here. I learned a lot about YouTube. I found some amazing other channels to follow, both reseller related and not reseller related, and I loved connecting with this community and interacting with all of you and having this awesome place to talk about reselling. It was really awesome. I also got my first really negative comment, but what was great about that comment was the comment that came immediately after was from Becky Park. She's like my little reselling angel who saved the day. And what's really cool is I actually got to interview her for the channel. I will link that up above and in the description box down below. That's sort of the thing here around YouTube. It wasn't my last, and it won't be the last negative comment that I received, but I'm grateful that most people who come hang out on the channel are really lovely, so thank you. In 2020, I made 30 videos. This will be 31, so that's not too bad. It's more than halfway to my goal, and considering that it was in the midst of a global pandemic, I think it was pretty okay. I also had another little mini goal in there to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which I didn't meet, but I'm a heck of a lot closer than I was at the start of the year when I had 0. So I'm hoping to reach that milestone towards the beginning of 2021. I also hope to get monetized. This is a great time, if you're not already subscribed, for you to hit that subscribe button and help me reach that goal. Thank you in advance. Big hearts for you. And I'm thinking that in 2021, I would really like to work towards making a video each week. So I didn't make my YouTube goal, but that's okay. Learned a lot along the way, met lots of great people, and I'm happy. happy. So my second goal that I set out for 2020 relating to reselling was to make $10,000 on Poshmark. I think when I wrote that down, I had no idea what I actually meant by that. It was a nice number. It was a nice round number. And I was at the very beginning. What's wild is that January was actually the best month that I had in 2020. So I started off really, really strong, and then things kind of like had some ebbs and flows, and then the summer, woo! And then actually December has been going pretty well and is set to be up there in one of my top months for 2020. So that's positive. I learned a lot along the way. One of the things that I learned about was inventory and navigating inventory challenges during a global pandemic. I had just really got into thrifting. I was starting to get a handle on things and feeling really good about that. And then stores closed in Toronto, so that definitely made things more challenging. With all the closures and just the changes in our city, I had to pivot and think about other options. So I bought my first liquidation box in March. It was a medium success. I never actually made a video about it because I was just so flabbergasted by it all. I ended up having to donate or throw away a good chunk of that box, but I did make my money back on it, and there were some lovely items in it, but like it was a mixed bag. I recently ordered another box of inventory, which I shared recently on the channel, from Boutique by the Box, which was a better success. And I'm excited to share more about different boxes that I try out in 2021. Other ways that I found to get inventory was continuing to curate my own closet, especially because the way that I dressed kind of changed over the course of 2020 because I stayed home a heck of a lot more. I had friends share clothing with me, and I sold some of that inventory, which was really great and a very cost-effective way to get inventory. I also tried out a little bit of retail arbitrage, and I purchased some inventory from other resellers who were no longer selling anymore. So I definitely learned a lot about inventory in 2020, and I'm excited to take that knowledge into 2021. I sold a lot more items in 2020 than I did in 2019 because, as I said, that was just like the beginning of my reselling journey. And so I learned a lot about my sales strategies and figured out that offer to liker really works well for me. Probably a third of the items that I sold were on an offer to liker. Tried out a little bit of closet clear out, up and down success there, and just sort of figured out how to price my items so that it made sense for me, it made sense for the buyer, and I felt good about what I was putting in my closet. I know what you're all thinking. You're like, yeah, Ashley, cool, but did you reach the goal? How much money did you actually make? So I did not reach my goal, spoiler alert, and that's okay. As of making this video, my gross total from Poshmark was $8,666. Now that is before Poshmark fees, that is before cost of goods, that is before expenses, but I was well on my way to hitting $10,000 and something. And as of today, I don't know, what day is it? It's that time of year where you're like, it's between Christmas and New Year's. You're like, I don't know what day it is, what day? December 27th. As of today, I've sold 290 items on Poshmark, which I feel really proud of. That feels awesome. I also thought it would be fun to share my top 5 sales of the year. So number 5 was actually in December. It was a Love Moschino. How are we pronouncing that? I don't know, but that brand. It was a long polka dot coat. It was really, really beautiful, really great thrifted find. It had some wear in the lining, but the outside of the jacket was beautiful, and so that sold for $85. Number 4 was a pair of Stella McCartney boyfriend jeans. These I found via retail arbitrage, and those sold for $90. And also the love note associated with those was just like the nicest, and so that was just like a really feel-good sale. They were really cool boyfriend jeans with stars all over them, new with tags because they were retail arbitrage, but that was an awesome sale. Number 3 were these Isabel Marant. Gosh, I am butchering these. Just want to share my top 5 sales and I can't pronounce them. Isabel Marant Bobby Suede wedge sneakers. These were an amazing thrifted find that I was so jazzed about when I picked them up. Those sold for $90. Number 2 was a Weekend Max Mara beautiful new with tags dress. Loved that dress. It sold for $120. And my top sale for 2020 was a Cinq à Sept side tie palm Bia dress, which sold for $128, and that was also thrifted. I am not in the business of selling luxury items or hugely high priced items. I would love to be selling items kind of more in that like 50 to 100 or beyond range, but those were my top 5 sales and I feel really good about those and just loved all of those items. So I didn't reach the goal of $10,000 on Poshmark, but I'm really happy with how things did go. This year was challenging. It was up and down, and I do reselling as a part-time thing. I have a job that I work full-time hours. This still feels like really great progress in my first full year of reselling. There was a ton of challenges, like it wasn't all rainbows and sunshines for sure. The summer was really challenging when it came to sales, like it was a bit bleak. I had some cases opened up against me, I had some negative reviews, but thankfully those were, they were just small challenges and I learned from them. I also got to celebrate some wins along the way, which was a lot of fun. I got a label printer and that has been such a positive change for me. I love it so much. I also painted my office and created a much more work-friendly space for working from home, for doing work on Poshmark. I have my beautiful shipping station, which I love so much and just makes packaging orders so much more fantastic. I cleared out some older inventory, including items that I purchased probably on my first or second thrift tip, which seemed like great things to purchase at the time, but in hindsight, maybe less so. Going to the post office got me out of the house some days. And given the challenges of this year, that was a really positive thing. I also got lots of really great love notes from people who just love their items, and honestly, that doesn't wear off for me. That just brings me so much joy when someone finds happiness with the item that I curated and sent to them and that they purchased. What I'm gonna say next is for myself, but it's also for all of you, and just a reminder that everyone is different, everyone's business is unique, everyone's business model is unique, and selling 290 items or heading towards $10,000 on Poshmark might sound like a lot. It might sound like nothing. Like, there are other people who are sharing their journeys on YouTube and on Instagram, and they might sell a lot more than that, they might sell less than that. All of that is okay. Like, there's that quote that says comparison is the thief of joy, and I really believe that to be true. In reselling, it's just you versus you and figuring out what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. And that's really the mindset that I'm taking for myself. I still really enjoy reselling. I love being here on YouTube, and I'm really proud of myself for the progress that I made this year, and it feels really good. Another one of the goals that I had for myself in 2020 that I didn't include as like one of my big goals here was that I wanted to finish paying off my credit card debt, and I was actually able to do that. And the additional income that I made on Poshmark helped contribute to me reaching that goal, and I'm super proud of that. It feels really good, especially as someone who paid off student loans or paid off a credit line, and my credit card was just the last part of it all. So that felt really good in 2020. The last goal that I want to talk about related to 2020 is that I wanted to go to Poshfest, and I put in brackets as a speaker. And what's really funny about this goal is that I actually had it on my goal list, and when it was shared that Poshfest was going to be canceled, I like crossed it out, and I was really bummed about Poshfest being canceled, because I remember back in January talking to Mar, my PFF, and we were talking about a road trip, we were talking about how exciting it would be, and as the year went on, it became very clear that that was not going to be a reality. But they did take Poshfest online this year, and I was actually able to attend, and I got to be a speaker, and that was amazing. Poshfest didn't look the way I hoped. I envisioned going to some place in the US and meeting lots of people in person and having this amazing trip, and in reality I was sitting right here staring at my computer, but it was still wonderful to connect with the community, to see all sorts of great speakers, and to be a speaker and to share that with Mar, and just have this really special moment amid a really tumultuous year. So I'm proud that I actually reached that goal, and it was something that I highlighted after I crossed it out, because it was something that I accomplished in 2020. Being a speaker at Poshfest was like invigorating and uplifting and much needed amid this year, and so I'm really thankful that I got to hit that goal. I had other goals, but those were the ones related to Poshmark and YouTube that I wanted to share with you. Overall, I'm really happy with how it all went. 2020 was a doozy. Like, it was fucking hard. I think it's really important that we all give ourselves some grace. It wasn't the year that we expected, and we were all just doing the best we could. I'm really grateful that I had reselling and YouTube to give me something positive to focus on, even when I didn't necessarily feel up to it, or even if I was having a hard day, I would make a sale or get a like or have a connection with someone in the community. Like, all of those things were bright lights during a challenging time. That's something really positive that came out of this year. So I've been brainstorming what my goals are for 2021. Actually, Martha and I are going to have like a PFF brainstorming session. We need to plan that. Martha, if you're watching, let's get that in the calendar. I think being a reseller can be so isolating, so I'm super grateful to have had such an amazing friend to go through this all with this year, and someone to keep me accountable and, excited about my goals. So I'm looking forward to that. I would love to hear from you how your goals went in 2020 and what you're thinking ahead to in 2021. I think there's definitely going to be something related to revenue, though I'm going to think a little bit more about it than just like throwing out a random number, which is pretty much what I did last year. I think there's going to be something around my average selling price, or ASP, because that's going to be something that will help me towards the bigger goal of revenue. And I also think there will be a goal around number of items. So far in 2020, I've sold 290 items. I don't know what's possible in 2021, so I'm going to think a bit more about that. When it comes to YouTube, I am still working towards that 1,000 subscriber goal, and I would love to get monetized, so I'm going to keep chugging along towards that goal and then figure out what my next goal is after that. I'd like to aim towards having a video each week. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you would like to see. It's really, really helpful to hear from you what videos you find helpful. Are there any topics you'd like me to cover? Let me know down in the comments. I'd also love to do more speaking outside of my YouTube channel, so would that be on other people's YouTube channels or podcasts? Like, that's something that I would really, really love to do. I'm actually really excited because in the first 2 weeks of January, I'm already going to be on 2 other people's YouTube channels, so I'll be sure to share those details once they are public, but that's really exciting, and I think starting off with a bang when it comes to that speaking goal, it feels really good. And the last thing I'm thinking about is branching out to another platform. I know, it's shocking. I've been a Poshmark girl through and through, mostly because I've been part-time and I'm like, I don't have time or energy or space to learn another channel, especially when I add YouTube into that mix. But I'm thinking about trying out eBay. The reason I'm leaning towards eBay is because it's kind of like set it and forget it, and I feel like there's a few items that I would like to just test out and see how they do, and if they sell, amazing. If they don't, I am no further along than I was before. If you have any tips for getting set up on eBay or any eBay wisdom that you want to share, I know that tons of people have been on that platform for a long, long time, so let me know. Let me know what eBay wisdom you have and anything that I should know as I start. So yeah, those are kind of the areas that I'm thinking about for 2021. I am cautiously optimistic about the year ahead. That is my 2020 recap, and before I end this video, I really want to say thank you to all of you who have watched my videos, if you've subscribed, if you've followed me on Instagram, if you've purchased something from me, given this video a like or a comment. I'm so grateful for this community and everything I have learned from all of you, the connection that I've had with all of you, especially because this year has been so challenging. So I have so much gratitude for all of you, and thank you for being on this journey with me. I'm excited to see what 2021 brings for all of us. If you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to give it a like. If you want to help me work towards my 2021 goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers, now's a great time to do it. Or if you're like, cool, I liked that woman, let's go see more of her videos. I'll be here in 2021. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing all of you in 2021. Bye, friends.